President Donald Trump's plans to impose high tariffs could mean bigger price tags for products like clothing, electronics, and home building. Reporter Isabella Vesperini joins us from Somo neighborhood to tell us how those who rely on imports are preparing for higher costs.
Thanks, Joe. Prices within the manufacturing industry are also expected to increase. I spoke with a local home builder to see how their business will be affected. Most of the materials Tom Weiniger uses are sourced locally, but he imports lumber from Canada, plumbing fixtures and pipes from China, and some HVAC parts from Korea. He's thinking of finding more domestic suppliers so he can avoid the tariffs.
I would adapt to it too. I want to keep my same high level of fixtures, but I may have to source them different places.
Another option is to rework contracts to account for the extra costs tariffs will bring. But Weiniger says he'll pay the extra money in contracts he's already a part of if it means consumers won't pay that extra cost.
I don't want to just pass it along to the home buyer, because I work every day not to make that happen. Keep the quality high and keep the price right. And it's tough.
Indiana is one of the top manufacturing states in the nation. Higher tariffs could restrict manufacturers and make it harder for them to purchase raw materials. As a result, prices for homes are expected to increase. Experts say higher tariffs are likely to keep businesses from putting as much money into expansion, purchases, and hiring. Nearly 534,000 people in the state work in manufacturing.
That's money that you don't have to give raises, to provide better healthcare benefits, to invest in training or equipment upgrades, and all those things will impact the state broadly.
During Trump's last presidency, U.S. consumers paid more for specific goods from China, such as washing machines, solar panels, and aluminum. Tariff rates ranged between 7.5% and 25%. President Joe Biden kept most of Trump's tariffs in place and increased the rate on some Chinese goods, such as semiconductors and electric vehicles. A new Reuters poll predicts Trump could impose tariffs of nearly 40% on goods from China early this year. Prices of some Chinese products, such as clothing and electronics, are bound to increase. The goal of imposing high tariffs on imported goods is to get more manufacturers to produce goods in the U.S., but there will still be a reliance on raw materials from other countries. During Trump's last presidency, China weakened its currency, decreasing its value. This made China's products cheaper than American products, and more Americans preferred those over their own.
The advantage to devaluing the currency is then, as an American, we would then buy their products because it was cheaper than buying our own products. So they were essentially rigging the system so that we would buy their products as opposed to look to our own manufacturing to buy our own.
Consumers would help pay for the tariff by paying more for their products. She hopes bigger price tags will encourage people to be more intentional about their purchases, prioritizing quality products that last longer over cheaper, less durable options.
If we can move away from being so focused on which is the cheapest alternative versus what is the best quality for my dollar. So, and again, in economics, that would be similar to thinking about what is the marginal utility per price and how much utility am I actually going to get out of it.
Higher tariffs could lead to less trade between countries, which would contribute to Trump's goal of relying less on other countries. Businesses in countries that paid high tariffs to export goods into the U.S. during Trump's last term, such as China, moved their business to countries where exporting into the U.S. wasn't as expensive. This could happen again.
As soon as the costs of that change, firms and businesses are going to potentially rethink whether or not that's the right or appropriate location to have their business or to be sourcing their materials.
Some of these firms could decide to move into the U.S., which could create more jobs.
Some of those goods that I'm using to make my semiconductor or my automobile or whatever, maybe it's going to become beneficial or necessary for me to think about moving some of those otherwise upstream production processes into the United States. So that results in more US jobs.
New tariffs could go into effect as soon as 6 months after Trump takes office. Reporting from Somo Neighborhood for Indiana News Desk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.